When you download the Baker's app, you have easy access to savings every day. Get the most out of weekly sales and receive personalized coupons to save on your favorite items, all while earning 1 fuel point for every $1 spent. Baker's makes it easy to save while you shop, whether it's in-store or online, so you get the most value out of every trip, every time. Download the Baker's app now to save big on your next purchase. Baker's, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.
Welcome to Bite-Sized Bios. This is meant to be a mini-sode that will accompany HDTH. Every week, I will pick a person from history and dive into their lives. All right, so we're finally getting this mini-sode thing going. We're going to see how it works, see if we keep with it. I've already got a couple recorded, so I'm really hoping that, I can keep making them as the time goes. Haven't quite, as we're talking right now, I haven't quite nailed down the day they're going to come out, but they're definitely going to come out towards the end of the week. I put the normal one out, the normal HDTH on Monday. Nothing will be changing with that at all. This is just simply another way to try to provide people who want more content. If you don't, you can skip past it and you just come back every Monday and we'll find out how things happen. That is completely fine. No shade whatsoever. But for those who want to know a little bit more, what I decided I would do is kind of just, I don't know. I really like looking things up. I like finding out, like you already know, how things happen. And so I thought this would be a cool way for me to kind of just, because the normal podcast is not really set up to do people, and I don't really want to do people on there. But I would like to look up people sometimes and find out, what they It's always interested me to look at successful people and see how they got to be where they are. Because in most cases they didn't take a normal route. They may have had normal beginnings and normal lives, but they did something in that moment. There's something in there that caused them to become who they are. And I'm not saying we're going to identify that here. I'm just saying that's why I care. So that's what's going to happen with here. We're going to call it bite-sized bios right now. And yeah, so without further ado, as you know me to do, here's the episode. William Shakespeare was baptized in Stratford-upon-Avon, a bustling market town about 100 miles northwest of London. And he was born, people think, April 26, 1564. But there's some speculation about that. Really, they think he may have actually been born 3 days before that, because this was a regular Elizabethan custom that children would be baptized 3 days after their birth. So if they're saying he was born April 26, he was probably actually born April 23rd. And the year he was actually born, there was a huge plague in his town where thousands of people died. It's pretty wild. They still have the books. I watched a documentary on it. They still have the books that document all the deaths and even when it started. And it's pretty wild. That's what's cool. And we'll see more stuff about this as we go on. And that's what I always think is cool about England or in European countries that have such a long history. They can just go back, in time with like no problems. So Shakespeare, if you don't know him, he was a prolific writer during the Elizabethan and Jacobean ages of British theater, which is sometimes called the English Renaissance or the early modern period. But I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty familiar with him. So you may not learn that much in this episode or in this little mini episode. We're just trying to kind of get the balls rolling. I figured we'd start with a really, an easy one. So he was the oldest surviving child of his parents, John and Mary Shakespeare. They had 2 girls before him that did not survive, and he had a bunch of siblings. They had 8 children in total, and so he was the oldest of those. So from ages 7 to 15, he went to the local grammar school, which was established by King Edward the Sixth, to offer free education. And this is cool because this school actually still exists. It was chartered in 1553, and this is, like I said, why you have to love England so much is because just the history alone, they have random 500-year-old elementary schools just lying around. Before this, if I had said, the school that Shakespeare went to is still around, like you'd be like, nah, it's not. But like it actually is, and it's like kids still go there now. So his father, John, he was a leather worker, and he specialized in soft white leather gloves and other stuff like that. So he was the guy who made like those little dainty white leather gloves. That's a very specific profession. He was also active in politics, and he made it all the way to the mayor type position in the town of Stratford, which is more like a town bailiff of something, I think they called it, but it was like a mayoral level of type thing. And his wife, Shakespeare's wife, we're talking William Shakespeare, not his father anymore. her name was Anne Hathaway, which I find to be hilarious because now I'm imagining present-day Anne Hathaway as a 16th century maiden. It's just, it's the imagery is pretty funny. So she was 8 years his senior, and people say they didn't have a very successful marriage because they only had like 3 kids. Like that was evidently a sign, which to me now it's like that's a sign that I don't know, maybe you have too many kids. I don't know, but like the name Shakespeare, it died out only because his only son died at 11. And that's an interesting fact I found out. I didn't realize that the play Hamlet, because I know a little bit about Shakespeare, but not a whole lot. But the play Hamlet was actually named after his child. His child's name was Hamlet. But he had 2 other girls. They marry other people, take on their surnames, move on. So the name Shakespeare doesn't end up going anywhere. So then we get to the history of him in the theater. And he's been known as the Bard of Avon, and he wrote at least 37 plays and a collection of sonnets, and he also established the legendary Globe Theater. So basically, after his kids were born, nobody heard from him for a while, and it wasn't until around 1592 that we started to see, actual documentation of his success. The time between the baptism of his children in 1592 is called the Lost Years, which is, maybe surprising to some, but if you know anything about growing up and getting older, you have friends that have kids and they just disappear. So, I know I got a lot of guys that have gone through the lost years, not just Shakespeare. He's written about only once, I think, during that time. Let's see. Shakespeare, so he prospered financially from his partnership in the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which later would become the King's Men, from writing and acting. He pretty much did it all. Let's see. He becomes a founding member, like I said, of the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which is a company of actors, and he was a regular dramatist and produced a lot of plays, at least an average of 2 plays a year for almost 20 years. During this time, with the King's Men, he wrote such plays as King Lear, Macbeth, The Winter's Tale, and The Tempest. He invested much of his wealth in a real estate purchase in Stratford, where he's from, and bought the second largest house in the town, which he called the New Place, which just sounds, with these names, like there's so many more words than just the New Place that you could have picked from. But he did this in 1597, and he bought it for about 120 euros. And then he died on April 23rd, 1616, which is the traditional date of his birthday, and that's pretty wild. We also do not know the cause of his death. His brother-in-law had died a week before, which could imply an infectious disease, but Shakespeare's health probably was on a decline anyways, is what people are saying. All right. Well, that's been the first episode of Bite-Sized Bios, a little mini-episode, accompaniment to HDTH. I hope you guys liked it. I'm sure you'll tell me whether or not on the Twitter page. And as I mentioned on the Twitter page, I have bought a domain. I'm not going to say what it is yet because there's no point in going there, but I have bought one, and soon I'll be doing the hosting from there, and we'll finally be doing all the things that I said we would be doing at some point, or at least some of them. So tune back in on Monday. We got Mondays at 4:30 a.m. And like I said, I haven't quite figured out when the mini episodes will come out yet, but when they do, it'll be consistent just like that. Thank you for tuning in. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.